Today's job, we're working on a fairly large valley oak, and the biggest problem with this tree is old age wounds and weaknesses. And we're running into some interesting things here because being at a church, we have quite a large number of people that congregate underneath this tree. So if there's a failure, it could be catastrophic. So our job today is to start by inspecting the cables to see how taut they are and then do enough weight reduction. Bear in mind that we've had a lot of rain this last winter, and a lot of the trees have put on more weight than they're used to. And you look back at the last 7, 8, 10 years of drought, so we have a lot of weaknesses. So we've got to do something to minimize the potential hazard. Alright, when we start a job like this, one of the first things we like to do is try to document any pre-existing damage. The first thing I see is there's a piece of tile right there that broke off of that corner, which also makes that really weak. These aren't tiles, these are those old concrete shakes that they no longer make these. So if we break anything, that's going to be a mess. They're not something that can be replaced. There's a chip piece right here that's missing. There's a lot of damage to this roof. Not significant damage, but a lot of little bits. And we have to lower all that over this roof. And I don't think we can walk on this stuff until they fix something that cracked. Okay, I need to check the existing tension on these cables, and they are so tight I can barely move them. And because this is big wood to big wood, I think even weight reduction is not going to change that any. I'm going to check this one over here. Kind of interesting, these old cables, they've got swedges, which I think could be a weak point. I'm not real comfortable with swedges as the connecting point on cables. I know they're strong, but I believe that's aluminum around the steel. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 cables that I can see. I can't reach that one from where I'm at, but I can check all 3 of these. Once again, this cable is extremely tight, and this one, which is also on this right here, is not as tight. It's tight, but it's quite a bit different. This one right here is, you could almost play a high C note on this one. We're going to go over and check that one next. A couple of the first observations I made on this tree, it's got some kind of a mushroom growing off the wood, which is never good. It's got a little bit of weeping going on. This might be Phytophthora related. It's got a few very, very large wounds. Now this wound is probably the biggest concern that I have. And a lot of people will say, well, look at that, it's healed itself. No, it's grown up and over the cut and encapsulated the wound. But if you look at the way that it was cut very, very close a long time ago. And it was likely what is referred to, well, it may not be a flush cut. It's kind of hard to read it at this point because that's so old, the tree may have grown into the wound more. But it appears to be a bit flush in such a way that sometimes that will create a lot of long-term problems. And with the weeping down here, there's also a little bit of dieback over in this area, a little bit of weeping. There's a number of other wounds in the tree that have me concerned. A lot of old stub wounds, there's a big cut up there. So what I'm looking for is weaknesses. And look at that old wound and all these old wounds all the way up in here. So all of those very likely are connected and can lead to interior hollowing. that limb right there that goes all the way out there, that worries me. I want to get enough weight off of that. It'll probably take one moderately large cut, as well as all that over there. We might take this one and that one. That would get all that out of there, and then maybe we can get a little bit of lightning up there. This low one's an easy one to start with because it's relatively close to the ground. We can get it with pole saws and pole pruners off of the ladders. Now we've got a big old dead stub here, and a lot of people would say, well, let's just cut that off of there. I think it might be best to leave it because it's got a lot of growth on here, and honestly the wound that we make on this would be so significantly large down here that that would be more of a long-term problem than cutting off just the end dead piece of this. So I don't like leaving stubs when it comes to big limbs. That's a little different. That you know, that's an area that you don't want to really compromise. How far in?
All the way.
Oh. Pour your saw out now. That's better. Very nice, very nice. Careful. Hey, don't break the roof. Are you trying to get me? the other two cables. You've got three newer style cables, which are they look like stainless steel cables, but they are so tight. I mean, I can barely move them. Really tight. And this one right here is an old cable. This one isn't as strong of material. You can see that's a conventional cable wrap. Actually, somebody did a really nice job of that a long time ago. But this is also as tight as can be.